This is my 2020 Toyota CHR, and today I'm going to show you why the hell you should buy one instead of a RAV4. Come on. Now, the first thing I was wondering once I bought this car, before I even looked this up, but what does CHR stand for? First of all, my name is Lucas. I'm your host on the Lou Runs channel, reviewing great vehicles and more. Great shoes available for sale. You know the deal. Anyway, CHR. First thing I thought, Cuban-Honey rocket. Okay, because it's a cute little car. It's pretty quick, kind of like a rocket, not super fast. We'll get into that later, but it is, it's cute. Cute honey rocket. Could be, it's like a RAV4, but cuter. But it actually stands for compact high rider. As you can see, it sits about 8 inches above the ground, which is typical height for a full-sized mid-sized SUV. Kind of confusing. Mid-sized SUV like a RAV4 or a Nissan Rogue. I had a Nissan Rogue. It was about 8.6 inches above the ground. My last vehicle, Toyota Sienna, a little less, maybe like 7.8 or something like that. A minivan, I don't know why they make them lower, but anyway. Compact high rider. Mine is a Cuban-Honey rocket, or in Spanish, Cubanito, Roquetito de Mielito. You switch the order around in Spanish with the adjectives, but if you speak Spanish, you know the deal. I just said it's a cute honey rocket in Spanish, literal translation. Now, you might be asking, Lou, why would you buy this car? And, I'm still asking myself the same thing. No, I was basically going to get a 2010 RAV4 or something to that effect. For about $10,000 or so, maybe $8,000, maybe get a cheap one. But, I had a road trip to do. My last car was not a road trip car. And I needed, I was like, let me get a RAV. None of these dealerships had RAVs older than 2015. Okay, they were all priced at about $15,000 or so. And, I took a look at this car because it was priced at like 14. I was like, okay, 80,000 miles. When I bought this car, that's what I paid for it roughly. I financed though, so $18,000. If you want to buy this car from me, you could send me a quick $16,000 cash app, and we can go from there. But $18,000 at 80,000 miles. The MSRP for these was about $20,000, I believe. They made these from the discontinued car also. This is a rare relic at this point. Okay, they made them, started making them in 2017, canceled them in 2020, I believe. So this is the last year, the best kind. Made in Japan. I checked the door frame also after I bought the car. Very silly. If you're going to buy one of these new Toyotas, it might be made somewhere else, which means it's probably not going to last as long. So just to make sure you got the best one, make sure there's a J on the, I'll show you here. So right here in the door jamb, you see the tire pressure stuff, and then you got this logo that tells you more about it. Toyota, obviously, and then you go down here. If your VIN starts with a J, it's made in Japan. Those Japanese don't play, so I'd highly recommend only buy Japanese-made Toyotas. I only buy Japanese vehicles as of right now until I have multiple Japanese vehicles and I can start doing science experiments with my vehicle budget, okay, buying Chevys and stuff like that. I'm going to stick to what I know is going to cost the least money long term, okay? If you've seen my older car videos, you know me, I've had several Japanese cars before, Nissan Rogue, Toyota Sienna, and even though I only had the Toyota Sienna for a little bit and I only drove the Rogue for a few years, we had the Rogue in the family for about 10 years, barely any problems, fucking amazing. Same thing with the Infiniti i35, which I was driving before this, until I started doing all the problems myself, but that was just a result from me driving kind of carelessly and stuff like that. So good, Japanese have a good track record with my experience. It's a cute car. Got the roof rack. If you can't tell, this roof rack came with the car. That's awesome. And there's a lot more that came with the car that's not as awesome that I'll go into in a few minutes here. Alright, I've got a different fit with this hat I wore in the first look at my car video. Anyway, you could buy this hat, you could buy these Vans, you could buy these shorts. Anyway, I told you what the car's name meant. Now I'm going to tell you what I do with this car and give you a look inside. I got this car because I wanted something good on gas, which a RAV4 could have done, but this one even better, I hoped, because it was smaller. And it does indeed get about 30 to I've got 37 on the highway before, but that's like about peak. And then typically I hang around 18 to 22 miles per gallon in the city, which is great because I like doing Uber Eats delivery to help fund the business. Shop blue stuff more so I could stop doing that, but till then I do drop food off sometimes, which this car is great for. I get gas every 2 or 3 days, and that's because of how much driving I do. If I stop doing delivery, I could definitely make it like a week without getting gas, week tank. I forget how many gallons in a tank. I'll put it up here or something. And what else do? I drive to work. Sometimes I drive, holidays are coming up. I'm going to drive to see my family, potentially. That's what I did last year. And good amount of trunk space for that. I'll show you right now. This is what the trunk looks like. Close that door up. Show you the trunk. So pretty decent trunk, okay? If this was a hatchback car, I'm sure most car people would say this is a good amount of space, all right? And it's an SUV, so got a little more headroom. You got, plenty of room to chuck stuff over the back seat when they're both up. Room for your toolbox, all right? And something else I do with this car is take out the trash. You see this little greasy stain, and you got some damage going on here. Some very light, superficial damage, but anyway, yeah, I'd be taking out the trash. Sometimes the bags leak at work. But look at this, okay? Hay, stuff like that from the trash. And you got this thin little thing, and then underneath, a little donut, little tool compartment. That's very nice, whatever. So I kind of use it like it's like a Toyota Tacoma or like a little pickup truck too. I'm gonna grab this because we're gonna need it. Actually, not this. This. Get my little OBD scanner. We'll need it for later. And yeah, back up to the front. Oh, but also just I had this car maybe 4 months. At this point, I've had it maybe 6 or 8 months. And a couple months ago, someone already rear-ended me, so I did have to. This is what the lights look like. You know what I'm saying? This is a light that came with the car. And I had one over here, but some jackass cracked it, put a nice little stain on my thing. Fortunately, that was it. He rear-ended me with one of those Chevy Colorados, like a jack-off. Pretty common practice in Miami, but first time I got rear-ended, but I did, actually no, I've been rear-ended twice, one time in the Infinity, but the first time I had to actually fix my car, I went to the junkyard, got this light, that's why there's a stock number. Anyway, all right, did you see that? Oh, I might not, look, whoa. It's flashing on me. Okay, maintenance required soon. This came on like a day or two ago, so I thought, what perfect timing. Perhaps this is the first issue, first thing I might have to diagnose. So I got the OBD scanner in the event. I think that this car still has a check engine light, like not on, but I think like that's part of what I get. So if it was something bad, the check engine light would be on. I think I'll just have like an oil change coming up. That's probably what that means. But just in case, let me scan it and see if there's any codes, and then we could see what's going wrong with my car this early in the game, if anything. I don't think anything is. I'm not sponsored by Think OBD or anything, but hey, OBD, if you want to, I'll talk you up. This is an OBD scanner. Think OBD. You just pop down here to the OBD port. You see that? If your car is not crazy new, you should have one of those. Maybe every car. You just plug it in. The device turns on automatically. You click the diagnose button, and then in a few minutes, it'll tell you if there's any codes, and it can read the codes to you to help you figure out what's wrong with your car, if anything. And basically, as soon as I stop recording, it, boom, finished. And this is short for data code, basically DTC data codes in this ECU, that's your car's computer, 0. So my car's good to go. Japanese car, still good. All right, so here's the interior, front. These beautiful floor mats are the ones that came with my Sienna. This little piece of shit is what came with this car, and this was, get that shit out of it. When I bought this car, it was like this, and this was like barely glued on, and then after like, shut the fuck up. That's what the keys look like, by the way. Got this little fob with the switchblade. Anyway, you don't care about that. This was pasted here on this not very flat interior. There's like a part of the frame or something right here. You can feel it with your foot. Very unusual to me, never noticed that in any other car. And after like 2 days of driving, my foot kicked this off and revealed this massive hole. What? And so, yeah, some fat, greasy fuck was driving this car before me, clearly, because there's a massive crater here. So I would just keep like trying to position this on top, and then eventually I got tired of it. I threw my floor mat in, way better. Get those rubber floor mats if you haven't already, if you want to, get your car dirty without getting it that dirty. Anyway, like I was saying, greasy fuck driving this car before. Look at, their hand was so sweaty, it started melting the steering wheel, and it only took, this car's been out 5 years. What the hell? They were putting their fat arm here. This shit is like kind of sticky. I don't know if that's just because the car was down here in Florida. Before it was in Las Vegas in the desert, so, maybe under extreme heat the plastic melts, but you know, old Toyota interior, all Toyota interiors are cheap. The old ones I've seen fall apart. You know, the dashboard of my Sienna had holes in it. Fortunately, this one's part leather, so hopefully that won't happen yet. But I just figured, damn, 4 years is kind of quick for shit to start melting. Usually the old Toyotas are like 15 years old and they have like small signs of sun damage. But anyway, here's the space you got. Pretty comparable to a RAV4 or the Nissan Rogue, in my opinion. You got, you know, a little iPad there, normal AC screen here, vents, stuff like that. Cup holders, this one's deep as shit. Hey, da mommy. If you have a small milkshake, it might get stuck in there. But, you know, you do have this little crevice you can stick your thumb in, pause, to pull out your drinks that might get stuck. Another cup holder there. Weird position, but it does the job. Little sunglass holder there. Not sunglass holder up here, but you do have an SOS button. One of these is an SOS. You can call the cops if you roll over. Oh, there it is. Lights. But yeah, weird no sunglass holder on top. I didn't like that. But you do have this, ooh, indentations up here. Not sure what that's for. And then moving on to the back seat, you do have a lot of room for clothes. It's just some extra clothes, sweaters I keep in my car on one footwell. As you can see, not a lot of room. Let's go over to the part that could actually accommodate a passenger. All right, and also cup holder in each door in the back. I like that. Not super deep, but you know, not too shallow either. And you got a tiny micro thing too. And that's about it for the door compartment. You do have a speaker down there. Very nice sound system here, which we'll get to later. So here's let me show you what it looks like when I'm sitting here, all right? Alrighty, so as I get in here, I'm gonna hold the mic real low by the seat and tell me if you hear this in the comments. Ooh, yes, boys and girls. That, whoa, first of all, I'm not fat, okay? Don't try to body shame me. I'll never do it to myself because I'm aware. And I happen to have a great body, all right? For those who don't know, I'm about 6'8". No, I'm just kidding. I'm 5'8". No, I'm almost 5. I'm 5'6" 3/4. Round up to 5'7". I'm 5'7", ladies. But anyway, we'll talk more about this later. But if you're 6'8" and you're a lady who likes 5'7", I actually do want a tall girl. I used to want a short girl, but now I want a tall girl. Let's make some tall white babies. Anyway, 5'8". I'd say all this to say I'm 5'8". I'm about 140 something pounds. I'm not so fat I'm gonna break the car seat, and neither are either my sisters or my niece. But when they all sat back here, the same thing happened. All right, and it leads me to believe, you know, Toyota just skimped on the interior once again when it comes to the seats. Something about the, you hear that? I can just like make that noise happen. I've never noticed that in any other car. Certainly not the Toyota Sienna I had. That had like 6 back seats, and they were all wonderful, very comfy, comfier than these. They are pretty comfy, but you know, that's just like a weird, unsettling, sinking feeling, quite literally, you get when you jump in. Not sure why. If you have a CHR of another year, not 2020, let me know if this happens in yours, if it's just mine. Who knows? But this is the room you get. It's not like if you're super like your room and, you know, I'm chilling back here, but if there was a big old person back here and they moved the seat back, I would be claustrophobic. You see the space between my knees. Like I said, I'm not very big and less headroom up here than in the front, but it's still, you know, it's a compact car and you got a back seat. You know what I'm saying? So it's a back seat, no pocket to put stuff in on this seat, but you do have a cup holder. And, you know, I have a couple little drink holders stashed under this seat, but, you know, and there's a mini middle seat. Anyway, let's get on with the show here. And then as far as this seat goes, you got that 70, what's this, like a 75-25 split, something like that. So you got the big seat. I fold it down often. Yeah, I got a toolbox back there. Now, as I've mentioned, this car is a new car to me, brand new. Even though I got it used, even though it's 4 years old, 5 years old, actually, better part of 5. It's new to me. All right, and it's new to you because this is the first time I've really shown you on this channel, but more importantly, it's new to me. And by that I mean my last car was a 2002. My last car I bought was a 2009, and my first car was a 2011. So at this point, pretty old. I mean, way newer than all my other cars, and with that comes some newer car features. There's a decade's worth of technology. You know, basically, some of which I get. Obviously, this isn't the top of the line. I think the fanciest one would be a Limited or an XLE. This is an LE trim, which means it's not the base model. Okay, it's probably one step above that. But let me show you some of these funky features, many of which I didn't even know existed before I found them in this car. Many of which I have a gripe with, personally, but, you know, let's start with what I like. Screen, cool. Okay, I can see. You got your audio. You can kind of control stuff here instead of using these tiny, you know, just dials and like a tiny thing, tiny screen like my Sienna. You can plug in a phone with the Bluetooth, which is a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? This and that. You got a radio, menu for... Honestly, I haven't even used any. I just use the audio. Your phone, though, you can do a phone call from here. You know what I'm saying? Kind of hang up the phone with the screen. ET phone home. That's kind of it. You got the volume knob, the radio knob. Now, let me plug in my phone, though, and show you kind of where this stuff loses me, all right? First, is there anything cool? I think, you know, climate control. Oh, here's something cool. Look, 75, right? I'm turning the heat up. Let me turn it down because it's hot as fuck still. But sync, let me turn this off. I can go 75 here, and if my partner's like a little, if my partner's like a small lady, say I'm going on a date, she's cold, I could turn this up and I could turn mine down. So these vents, you know what I'm saying, we'll make it 80, these 90, 69, you know what I'm saying. But then if you hit sync, boom, they're the same temperature, which is a cold temperature, which I like because I'm sweating my ass off. Now, we're gonna get on to some of the goofier features. As you can see, currently connected right now is my phone. This is my cell phone with the Bluetooth audio. I was listening to this goofy ass series Candace Owens did on the president of France's wife. If you want to watch some funny kind of conspiratorial shit, check that out, Becoming Brigitte. Anyway,
has a son.
That's what it sounds like.
Allegedly, this guy, whoever he is, Jean-Michel Tragneau, who seems to be missing, has a son named Jean-Jacques, who is not missing. Jean-Jacques is not missing. And I'm going to just give you a side-by-side.
That's what it sounds like.
Jean-Jacques and Emmanuel Macron.
All right, now let me
DEPOP has no selling fee.
Yo, just in time for the ad, which I might add. Let me turn this down a little bit. Do a separate rant here real quick.
It's easy to list your clothes.
What's with all these fat women on the DEPOP ads? Come on, DEPOP. I love your platform, but I don't love your marketing, all right? Let's not try to glorify this unhealthy behavior. Anyway, I mean, you don't have to be skinny to sell your clothes, so whatever. Let's include the fat women, but we got fat women on the runway.
I'm a fat bitch on the runway. I'm so powerful. No, you're not. You're causing death. That shit is unhealthy.
Anyway,
One of Jean-Jacques and Emmanuel Macron. Now these two.
Why'd that pop up? Well, that's because I just plugged my phone into the charger, which is plugged into the car, which typically makes that happen. But you see how that just happened twice? I didn't just plug it in when I said it was plugged in. I plugged it in before I was recording this clip. Which brings me to first of all, let's appreciate the CarPlay. You can look at your map on the big screen. You could type in an address. Oh, I'm doxing my current location. That's not good. You cannot read text messages, but you can have them played.
In your group with Pablo, Olympia, and Danielle, Pablo said, "Love you all. Have a great day."
Hey, I love you too. All right. Enough reading family messages. So you can have messages read to you, that's great. And then my favorite, you know, you could, if I'm Uber driving, Uber is pretty, they kind of sync their app up. Kinda, not totally, but nothing's going on with Uber now. But if I got an Uber trip, it could pop up here, and then I could see the dollars I get, the miles. Anyway though, here's where it gets goofy, all right? When I bought this car, it was working fine. You know, you could pick up your phone, it would stay connected. Seamless experience, and when you unplug it, you know, you can switch to Bluetooth if you don't need to charge your phone, because it is charging your phone as long as this is happening. Now, you only get this visual representation, the CarPlay, of what's on your phone on the car. They call that Apple CarPlay, right? If it's plugged in via charger. As soon as I unplug it, gone. Now, recently though, what's happening to mine, that actually disconnected before I actually pulled this out, which is how it's supposed to happen. Now look at this, I'm gonna plug it back in. And it has registered that I'm connected with a charger, okay? But now keep in mind what I just said. You're supposed to, you know, it's supposed to be connected so you unplug it. I'm just gonna pick up my phone, I'm not gonna unplug it. Okay, cable stay on my phone, see? I'm gonna just pick up my phone and let's see what happens. All right, it's staying connected, which is nice. I do like that. Let me just keep my eye on the screen here. Shake it around a bit. Whoa! Boom, boom, boom! See what happened? Fucking, and now it's connecting again. So it's either a bit of a connectivity issue with my phone. Maybe my phone's too old. I'm not updated to the current software, but usually this doesn't happen. This recently started happening. I got a new phone charger because it was happening a lot with my old one. I thought it was the phone charger. It stopped happening, but now it's kind of happening again. So, but I've only had this phone charger like 1 or 2 months. I haven't freighted it all. You know what I'm saying? You could tell it still looks new. It's got the tag on it. So I'm hoping it's not a problem with my car. I thought it was for a minute. I even asked my mechanic last time, but then I tried a new phone charger and it actually, you know, went away. But now it's happening again. So let me know if your Apple CarPlay is really finicky like that. Usually though, it works, you know, if I have an Uber and I'm trying to use it for the map, I just put my phone and I don't touch it, you know, and as long as I don't drive too recklessly, don't hit too many bumps, it stays connected. But also, what the fuck? I'm gonna look up how much that costs in addition to the cost of the rest of this car's features and put that on the screen. And I already know it's too much. I already know I would rather go without all that and deal with this frustrating bullshit. I mean, it's cool and it works, sure. But if it doesn't work, you know what I'm saying? I'm paying extra for this $1,000 feature, multi-$1,000 feature, and it doesn't even work all the time. Even if my phone charger is brand new, like, come on, bro. I will do more research into this. All right, so I couldn't find like an itemized cost of every single standard feature that comes in these cars, but I learned in my research the 2019 CHR, as you see here, this didn't come with Apple CarPlay, and it starts at $20,000 to $21,145,000, while the 2020 CHR, which I have, $21,295. So a small difference, but about $100 for Apple CarPlay. Pretty good value. I guess they can make that pretty cheap. Shout out to Apple, but you know, just like anything, you get what you pay for, and it can break, and it's just another electrical component that could lead to electrical problems with your car, hypothetically, okay? I'm not complaining, though. I'm really grateful that it came with my car, and it's not causing me major issues other than, you know, if I'm looking at the map on my car screen, and then it disconnects suddenly because I tapped the charger without even unplugging it, suddenly I have to look down at my phone, and suddenly it's kind of dangerous, you know, that's all. It's just like, no. I just wanted a 2010. I don't need a car with Apple CarPlay, but because that's all they have to sell nowadays because of this damn inflation, I gotta get this car. I gotta get a new car. Poor me. I know, first world problem. But it's like I'm paying more for my car because of this shit that I don't even need. I don't want to deal with this at all. I used to just plug into the aux cord. This car doesn't even have an aux cord. That's one USB port. What the fuck? My Nissan Rogue had. Well, my Nissan Rogue actually didn't have any, but it did have the AC adapter, which I could plug the little adapter in, the lighter, car lighter with 2 USBs, you know what I'm saying? Which this car does have, okay, which is right there, but this barely even works. Like, I can't plug, when I plug one in, and I plug my USB into there, I don't even think it charges all the time. So that's, and that's it, as far as USB ports and connections, so that's just kind of a gripe I have. Until I think of something else. All right, so I'm a city boy. I live in Miami, so I don't really have a good drag strip of a road, but this will do for the purpose of showing you the acceleration. You see the RPMs, and now they're going up. You see them? You can kind of see them. We're at about 2,000 if you can't tell. So, quick little car. I should have properly stomped on it, but I'm like, you know, 30% on the gas right now. Wee! It's definitely a car that'll make you go wee if you need it to. And with that CVT, you can definitely, you know, go up in gears pretty quick. And you never have to wait for it to, you know, you don't have to worry about like hitting the gas smooth enough and the gear hunting that happens with like normal Toyota 8-speed transmissions, which are, you know, traditionally fire. But I know that was something I had to deal with the van a little bit. Definitely with my RAV4. Even though I only drove it 2 months, there were definitely sometimes I could hear the transmission. And, you know, previously I was driving a Nissan Rogue with a CVT. So going to the RAV4, that was like my first proper 8-speed transmission. It was like, oh, when I couldn't find the gear. This shit does not do that, which I like a lot. But, you know, obviously the question is, how long will it last? You know, CVTs, I had a friend that had a Nissan Sentra with a CVT, and it broke at like 95,000 miles. Fortunately, he bought it new, so Nissan, you know, that was covered under the warranty. Nissan fixed it. My 2011 Nissan Rogue CVT lasted 10 years, no problems. So, and I think my mom might have had it flushed at around 100,000 miles. Not sure though, but I'm just hoping this CVT lasts a long, long time. I think it will though. Like I said, built in Japan, 2020. So yeah, there's a little speed test. As you can see, it was pretty quick. I was traveling at around 50 for most of that. And fun little feature here, I'm stepping on the brakes, and this is something I didn't even know we were doing with cars now. Never had in my old cars because they were all 2010s. If you go down here and hit this hold button, that's the brake hold. As you can see, it's holding with a yellow light. That means it's on hold right now. And I could take my foot off the brake pedal and my car's not going anywhere. So that's pretty damn nifty. And then, you know, to change that, all I do is hit the gas a little bit. Let me do this carefully. And you see I'm rolling again. So, and then I just depress the brake pedal all the way. And once that yellow light pops up, I can take my foot off and just chill. Okay, so I like that a lot. Well, that's all, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. If you were interested in the CHR, there you go. Now you know what I like about it, what I don't like about it. Pretty decent car overall. It's definitely doing the job. If you just need a affordable, get around town type of car, you know, for not a lot of money, great gas mileage, and everything else I mentioned. If you want my CHR, you know, quick $20,000 Cash App, $26,000 Cash App actually. Don't do that, it's too much, but you can if you want to. If you just have money to burn and you want my car or want to sniff my seat, whatever, go ahead, do that. And shop Blue stuff for more reasonably priced goods, clothes, sneakers, etc. to support future videos. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, let me know what your favorite part of the video was, and we got more videos coming real soon. So I appreciate you. If you want to run in Miami or you need help on your fitness journey, feel free to DM me at LouLiftsWeights, and everything else in the description. You will find more helpful links to my other social medias where I can do more for you. So with that being said, God bless you. Jesus loves you. Have a great day. See you next time. Yeah, I needed a new car, so I traveled kind of far to the Largo Honda dealership. This was November of 24 and they only had a 2025 RAV. And I said I need something much older than that. But as far as RAVs, that's all they had. I asked how much for the compact. He said with my $1 grand down payment, I would about be paying 14 for a much smaller car than that 8-seater van I bought for $8 grand. And it's more like 18 after tax. You could blame inflation for that. Put the keys in my hand.